Bobby Johnson, well done, Manchester United.
It's a Sheringham, and Solskjaer has won it! And it's half saved it! United again! Renee! A magnificent goal by Robin van Persie!
Hello, welcome to United Hour, your official redcafe.net podcast on all things at Manchester United. I'm Imran.
I'm Colm.
And I'm Jamie.
And we are coming to you about 2 hours after our 6-2 win at Old Trafford over Leeds in a very entertaining game that we will dive into shortly. Before we do, just want to get all our plugs out the way nice and early. So please give us a follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. It's just at United Hour. We also have our Patreon, which is at United Hour. Obviously, we're happy to provide this for free as a free service. But we do have a couple of things that we need to keep the costs running of. So if you have anything to spare, just have a look at us on there and contribute what you can. There's a couple of tiers, a couple of rewards that we are going to start, adhering to. We're going to start pulling our weight, we promise. Give us a follow on there. And Right, Man United 6, Leeds 2. We actually scored more than 5 goals for the first time since, I want to say, Arsenal, 8-2 in the league.
I think that's right, yeah.
I think that's the stat. So let's start right at the beginning. The lineup came out and it was back to the Fred and McTominay double pivot of...
The Power Ranger.
The solid Power Ranger couple that is Fred and McTominay. And with the big surprise really was Dan James starting on the left. Or the right, and then he kind of went to the left for a bit. Colm, were you surprised to see James in? And how do you think that went as a mark for Ole?
I was very surprised. It wasn't something that had crossed my mind. My big thought before the match was he going to play Pogba? I suspected he might have, and I was not looking forward to it. I was quite nervous about it. I thought Fred McTominay maybe obviously looks like an obvious choice now, but I think there would have been quite a lot of... pressure to play Pogba after a few decent performances of his. So I was really, really happy to see Fred McTominay starting. I thought that was very obviously what was needed against this Leeds side, and I think we were all kind of cringing at the prospect of Pogba maybe dawdling on the ball and being harassed by the Leeds players. So that for me was the main thought going into the game in terms of the team. I thought the rest picks itself. I just assumed it was going to be Greenwood across that front three with Bruno behind them as he had at Sheffield United. When I saw Dan James in there, I was driving home to watch the game, and I just thought it was really, really funny, to be honest. A lot of people, I think, reacted very negatively to it. And I'm not a huge supporter of... I'm a supporter of Dan James, but I'm very realistic about how his United career has gone and the limitations that he sometimes has. But to me, as soon as I read it, I was just like, that is clever, and it's also just so much like what I would expect from Fergie. It's just this real spanner in the works, totally out of left field player that is probably in a very poor moment that hasn't really been, featured. And you kind of just, to me, when you kind of throw that curveball, sometimes it really takes the pressure off the team because the expected lineup is the one that you expect to go wrong sometimes. And it's like that Arsenal 8-2 game that you mentioned. Go back and look at the team that actually played that match. It's kind of a ridiculous team. And in that sense, sometimes I think you can give other teams a real difficult proposition because it's a bit of a head melt for them, to be honest. So I kind of felt that way. The reasons why I chose him, I think, are pretty obvious, and he certainly fulfilled on them. And even in Ole's pre-match kind of quick snip interview, he sort of said, "Look, I think it'll go well," and then he sort of checked himself and said, "I hope it goes well." But there was kind of almost an arrogance about it. I thought that's funny because he almost had to stop himself from kind of sniggering, I actually fancy that this will work very well, and then it immediately did. So massive credit on that front for all things, and I love that little Fergie stroke. It really made me feel a little bit better about Ole.
Just to get Pogba out of the way nice and early so we can focus on other things. Jamie, do you think it's maybe not easier, but do you think it's the pressure is off Ole to take Pogba out the side when he's doing well because of recent comments from his agent, do you think, and the fact that it's kind of like an open secret that he's a bit one-to-it, do you think it's easy for Ole to take him out of the team?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Him wanting away, we know he wants away, all the obvious stuff we've spoke about over the past few weeks regarding his comments, I think will make it slightly easier. He'll always have his fans, Pogba, the ones that just defend him blindly, but at the same time, the vast majority of fans, like Colm and myself discussed the other night, probably are just wanting them moved on at this point. So it maybe is easy on that front, but I also agree that he's played okay the last few games. So I thought the same as Colm that he might actually start today, but I was kind of glad not to see him in the lineup because I did immediately think that he would be one of the players that, if he was to start the game, would be put under the most pressure by the Leeds players. They would, we see how many times he dallies on the ball. He tries to take on one man too many. He tries to hold off two players at once. You can't do that against this Leeds team. They work too hard. They're too fit. They harry you too much. So I was glad not to see him in the team. But I think it's a fair point that it's probably easier after what's happened recently not to pick him. But I still think it was a good statement by Ollie to show that he's not scared to drop him. He kind
of telegraphed it in his pre-match press conference in terms of the kind of no one's bigger than the team comments, and everyone here knows that, and he specifically mentioned Pogba and then kind of had to hurriedly say, look, it's not just about Paul, like he does understand that, but he spoke at length about how no one player is bigger for the team, and then what he got today was kind of the embodiment of that message on the pitch, which again, real good day, real good week for Ole, because when you say things like that and then they're so evidenced on the pitch, I think that's a really strong sell for the team's buy-in to your message and stuff like that. It doesn't always go that way. And also, look, Pogba was brilliant last week. Like, there were issues, small issues, as there nearly always are, but broadly he was extremely good. And there is a world where he plays today and the result isn't changed. But I don't think McTominay gets those 2 goals playing beside Pogba in the first 2 minutes.
No, definitely not. No, he doesn't.
I mean, I was having visions of Pogba doing his usual, I'm going to stand on this ball and only one player is allowed to come near me at any given point. There's no way another person's going to come tackle me. Visions. So I'm kind of glad we didn't see that. And we lamented our slow starts to games. Pretty much every game this season, really, we've had a slow start. So not only did we start this game quickly, we started it at the speed of light, really, scoring our quickest goal of the season and then scoring 2 goals within 3 minutes. I don't think anyone expected that, let alone for those 2 goals to come from Scott McTominay. Now, Scott McTominay is a man that someone on this pod loves to death. Loves him to death. Can't get enough of talking about him. So, this is your chance. Colm, go mad about Scott McTominay.
I do actually love Scott as much as Jamie loves him, but probably not quite the same.
Go on, Jamie. Scott McTominay hour, go.
I just thought it was an awesome performance from him. Yes, it probably was a game tailor-made to his own game where there was lots of energy required, lots of physical battles at times as well, where he was easily overpowering a couple of the Leeds players. But after he scores the first goal, the confidence with which...
What a finish.
The first goal's a tremendous finish into the bottom corner, but then even the second goal, the touch that he takes from when Martial plays him in is absolutely outstanding. And then his finish into the opposite corner is class as well. And you could just see after that, for the rest of the game, the confidence was just flowing through him. Like, he wasn't just kind of getting the ball and passing it on. There was countless times he was getting the ball and just running into the Leeds back 4. And even when they had the midfielders in front of him, he wasn't bothered. He just kind of took it on, charged forward. I think it was for Dan James's goal where he takes the ball wide, tricks a player, comes back inside, feeds it to Dan James, and we score from that. But there was so many instances of that where he was running forward and just maybe dictating play is a bit over the top, but he was certainly driving forward and taking United forward at times. I just thought it was a great performance all round from him. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, it was an awesome performance. Definitely our man of the match. He got the Sky's man of the match, and I don't think anyone here would disagree that he was our man of the match. Just a complete midfield performance, really, that we haven't seen from him to that extent. I think we're all used to Scott McTominay hard graft and putting in the effort, but this was hard graft effort combined with just quality on the ball. Colm, just away from Scott McTominay, but we'll come back to him. Just, were you surprised by how quickly we started this game, and what would you attribute that to? Because really, the starts to the games have been something that has been a problem for us.
They absolutely have, and I think the thing that helped us more than anything in this game is who we were playing and what they are. I think it's once as much as that was an unbelievable game to watch, a very fun game and a great statement of intent. I think there is a limit to what you can take from it in a sense, because no team will play like that against us until we play Leeds again, and even Leeds shouldn't play against us like that. When we meet them again, so it was just a bit bonkers. I mean, they've been very good all season, but they do have this basketball style, man to man, very much into the individual battle and trying to put you under pressure in that sense. However, against the other big teams, they've been very tight as well in that same sense, and that just wasn't there today. I mean, the buzzword for the whole game, I think, is just space and naivety. I would also say, they just left so much space, and we were so willing and so set up to exploit that. I mean, from the start, I think what really pleased me was that we pressed them. So I think the kind of fear that I've had for this game, because I've long been looking at Leeds this season and thinking, I'm really not actually looking forward to watching them press us, because we're not always good under a press. But what really went well today was that we actually engaged that first. We let them have the ball. They essentially controlled possession throughout the game. They kept around a 60-40 possession split. That was obviously tactical. We allowed that to happen. But the thing that we did alongside that was set a very deliberate and very energetic and very clever press, very high, which was just essential. I mean, I lost count of the amount of times they were trying to pass it out of the back and ended up playing themselves kind of almost into the sideline, having to hoof it forward. And like Leeds, there is a naivety there where they will just keep playing it forward. They'll keep trying to force balls down the channels, and they'll never want to kind of do the boring, sensible thing or the thing that you maybe just should do in that circumstance. They'll always want to try and create something. But that really worked against them today, because when that ball was then collected by Fred or Maguire, Lindelof, whoever it was then just fed straight back, and we were able to break into such advantageous positions for the kind of players we have that it just cut them to absolute ribbons. So I really thought the game was not going to be as straightforward, and I think a huge part of that is just the high press that we put on, which I was super pleased about, and that's obviously why Dan James was selected. Although I think we can do it with any of our players. I think if Greenwood's in there, he can still do it. I think it's just about wanting to do it. But I think it's because it was Leeds, we kind of knew Ole was forced into knowing that was the only way to play today to really achieve the result. And Leeds, to their own kind of credit, but also demise, were not willing to compromise their tactics at all. One iota, and that's ultimately how they were put to the sword.
Yeah, I mean, Leeds definitely played into our hands with their just reckless, abandoned football. But I think it's worth saying that, we, even though they were a perfect opponent for us in that sense, we do deserve a bit of credit, really, for...
You still have to go and do it. The football still has to be good. Yeah.
Actually starting fast, because I mean, football, we often just let football happen to us at the beginning of games. We just kind of this is a game, we'll pass around, see what happens, and then football will start happening to us and then we'll react. But this, we were proactive. I mean, the first goal comes because Shaw and Rashford press and rob the ball, feed it to Fernandes, and then he passes to McTominay for the finish. So really good to see us on the front foot like that. And it continued pretty much throughout the game, although Leeds did get a couple of chances. I think Bamford had a couple of chances early on. This is the thing with Leeds, they will give you a million chances, but they will also create themselves. And maybe it's a testament to our defence not being great again, but they did create themselves quite a few openings, and our defending from set pieces wasn't great. But then I think once the third goal went in from Fernandes, I think thought that okay, we're fine, just about. It was a nice goal as well. Again, winning the ball high, and I think Martial tried to shot, but then kind of just missed it, and then Fernandes put it in. Fernandes came away from this game with an assist and 2 goals, one from the penalty spot. Jamie, how do you think Fernandes did today?
Do you know, it's weird when you actually think about it. I thought a couple of his passes in the final third were lacking quite a bit, because we did start at an absolutely frantic pace, and it was brilliant to see for a change, and Ollie kind of covered it in the post-game presser when he said that he knew, because of the team that Leeds are, you need to get after them immediately, and that's exactly what we did, which was great. Yeah, we scored 3 early goals, but even if we hadn't got those 3 goals, I still would have been happy enough to see us really start on the front foot and fast and go after Leeds, because you can't allow them to settle and play their own football. But at the same time as Fernandes gets his 2 goals and his assist, there was so many times especially in the first half, where we worked the ball really well up to the final third, and I thought quite a few times his final ball kind of let us down a wee bit, and I kind of thought at half time, but there's so many goals left in this game. Yeah, Leeds make so many chances, but we were making chance after chance as well, and I just was a bit frustrated with him at half time, purely off the fact that if the final ball from him in 2 or 3 occasions had just been that wee bit better, we probably would have had another chance on goal, if not a goal. But again, you can't fault the guy for anything, because even when he does that, he scores 2 goals, he gets an assist, and he just makes the difference between the game being 3-2 to 6-2 because of the 2 goals and the assist. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? I mean, we've said it before on the pod that you need to take that with Fernandes, that sometimes he might do nothing, like the Newcastle game for 80 minutes, pops up with a goal and an assist in the last 10 minutes and makes the game safe. And I don't mind that from him. You just need to take the rough with the smooth when it comes to Fernandes. But I thought it was just probably a 7 out of 10 performance. Really good output, but I genuinely think some of his chances could have been a wee bit better if his final ball had been better.
It was just one of those games though where even if he messed up one pass, you knew that
that's true.
2 minutes later he's going to get another chance, isn't he? So I think the abundance of opportunities that Leeds were affording us, I think I was cutting him a bit more slack than maybe I would in a tighter game. So yeah, from there we did get the 4th goal as well. We scored from a corner.
Hallelujah.
Found a corner goal, Claxon. Woo! Yeah. Shaw for Martial to knock across to Lindelof. Really poor marking from Leeds, who apparently have conceded the most set-piece goals in the league, I think, this season.
Yeah, that's right.
So sounded about right for us to score from a corner. And it was a good little finish from Lindelof, who has played a couple of nice balls over the top and got his assist in the last game. So nice for him to get a goal. Fairly routine, really.
I thought he read it quite well, to be fair.
Okay.
I just think I thought it was just a mistake when I saw it the first time through, but watching it back, I thought it was actually quite clever movement from him. Okay, the defence just goes to sleep, and I can't remember if it was Phillips marking him or somebody else, and I think they just let him go. But at the same time, the minute Martial does get the flick on, Lindelof's moving to the back post, and he just gambles that the ball's going to go there. And okay, he needs a defender not to really be paying attention, so he makes the ball, but I still thought it was decent movement from Lindelof, and he gets his reward at the end of it.
It was a carbon copy of West Ham's goal against us.
Yeah.
So
maybe just copied Souček then.
Yeah, Moyes is clearly leaving his mark on United still. Can't escape him. Ollie's really, maybe he's Ollie's mentor and we just don't know about it. Anyway, and then 4-0 up, cruising, but Leeds do score, and they also score from a corner. Once again, I think how many? I mean, Southampton, West Ham, off the top of my head, in recent memory, have scored from corners against us. This was another one.
Sheffield United as well.
Yeah, Sheffield United as well. Although that was a bit unlucky on Lindelof heading it into McGoldrick, but even still. Colm, how worried are you about our set piece defending in general, and what is the answer to it? Is it to go man? Because we obviously go for zonal, and then you get problems like Fred marking their tallest player. So what do you think about it?
I don't think anything great about it, to be honest. I said last week that there's a real lack of players in our team who enjoy that situation. In fact, it's the absolute opposite. You have what looks to me like a whole players who are just absolutely racked with anxiety at every set piece. Neither goalkeeper seems to it matters really very much either, so it is tricky. I think who we have on the pitch makes a difference. I think Cavani is extremely responsible. Pogba is actually very good from dead ball situations defensively, and if you don't necessarily have the right players on, McTominay doesn't play every game, you can struggle, but it's certainly something that needs work, and it clearly is an issue. I mean, the one today is probably the one I've had the most sympathy for in a long while, because when I saw it, it just looked to me like a good corner. Sometimes corners, have an element of fortune and luck about them. If the delivery is extremely good, if the person's making the exact run that delivery needs, if that person then jumps and gets a good head on the ball and the keeper can't save it, yes, you should always be able to compete, but at some point you can just be beaten by effectively a good corner. It's a free cross into your box, so goals will come from set pieces. It's just a fact of football. And I thought today was one of those where you just kind of have to say, look, 99 times out of 100 you probably defend that successfully. You know, the ball is good, it's well delivered, but McTominay is kind of rushing out to meet it and just doesn't get there by a whisker. You then have a player out jump, I think it's Fred, who is probably the one most culpable for not being able to kind of impact that more. And then the headers, you know, a good one down to the floor, as you're always taught, and into the corner. Watched it a few times, don't know if this is my anti-De Gea agenda. I thought the keeper could maybe do a little bit better, but it's a good header into the corner. I just don't think it has all the pace in the world. But usually, if De Gea is beaten and he's outstretched and diving, it's usually a fair comment to say that most keepers wouldn't get to it unless it's a corner or it's near post. Imran.
I think personally, Fred could maybe do a little bit more to put him off. Like, obviously, he's not going to win the header, but you kind of just impact the play and make it a bit harder for him. Yeah. But I guess just the worry is, like, even in the second half, I thought Leeds we didn't look great from any set players really, and for our players, heading clearances are just dreadful at it. Like it takes us about 3 headers to get the ball out of the box half the time. It's really bad. I think the only 2 players who I rely on, who I would back to head the ball out of our box, are Maguire and Pogba.
I think Cavani's good at them as well, though, because when he came on, I think
McTominay is normally pretty good as well.
Yeah, but he did have a 50p head in the second half, but we'll let him. He scored 2 goals, so we'll let him.
I did think when Cavani came on, though, you could see that when he went to the near post, and there was 2 or 3 corners in a row, he just clears them, just gets rid of the ball, and that does make a difference.
Let's talk about Leeds a little bit. Like, so that's 4-1 at half time, and you're going in at half time. And obviously, I think we all knew that there's no way they're not going to try to shut up shop or anything. They're just going to keep coming at us like crazy people. Jamie, what do you think that's naive? Do you think that's the way they play, and then they just stick to it? Because I mean, in commentary, Martin Tyler, like, basically, if you were not watching the game, you think Leeds might have won that like 7-0 or something by how much praise he was giving them. Like, do you think it's a bit over the top?
Maybe a bit over the top. I thought Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was far more fair in his assessment of Leeds when he said that that's just the way they play. And Bielsa basically said as much in his post-match presser that no, they're not going to change how they play. Yes, they're going to be on the wrong end of results like this every so often, but they do make a lot of chances. That's the way they play. That's what they believe in. So no, they're not going to change. I think they need to be a bit more streetwise, I think is probably the term I would use to describe them, that in certain situations they just give the ball up too easily. I mean, the amount of times we broke forward today after winning the ball in the middle third, and you're looking at a situation where we're attacking with 4 and they've got 3 back, or even if we've got the man less than them, you still fancy on the counter that the other team is going to create a really good chance against them. So maybe not in terms of how they attack, but when they lose the ball, I think they need to just be a bit more streetwise in terms of don't let the opposition have as much of a free run at you as much as they actually allow you to do just now. But they are enjoyable to watch. I mean, I know obviously we gave up a lot of chances, but we also played really well as well. That today was probably the most fun I've had watching a Man United game in a very long time, because it was just a good game of football to watch. And I agree, I thought the praise at times was a bit over the top, but it's fair enough as well at the same, because they are just a promoted team from last season. So to be playing like this already is pretty impressive. And I think if they were to have a couple of really good transfer windows over the next couple of years, they could become a really strong top 10 team, because the way they play just exhausts other opponents. I mean, I've watched them 5 or 6 times in games against Man City, against Arsenal, against Chelsea, and while they've had a mixed bag of results, they are very good to watch and it's very enjoyable. But I do think at the same time, yeah, they probably need to just be a bit more streetwise. But I honestly don't think they'll be relegated though. I don't think there'll be anything wrong with like fighting for their lives at the end of the season. I think they'll be comfortable.
No, I agree, but like, do you think Leeds fans, I mean, I'm sure they're happy enough because, God, it's entertaining, but like, I was exhausted watching that. See, at the 60th, 70th minute, I don't know if I could take another Martial easy chance that he missed. I was just like, it was class, but it was exhausting, and there was just no protection for their back four, and their back four isn't actually great. either.
No.
It's all set up.
And they're
it's all
missing a
set
lot
up
of defenders as well.
Yeah,
they are. It's all set up. It's all set up to play the ball, but they have no care for the ball at all. You know, their care is to get it forward and to create a chance as much as possible. And they did create good chances against us, just not nearly as many as we created. And it's just, to me, to offer zero protection and to not keep it tight at all, it's just like that was inevitable. Obviously the first 2 minutes breaks the game in a sense as well, because then we don't have to, you know, if it's tight for 10, 15, 20 minutes, it could be a very different game. And if they get one of their first chances. So I think it is always worth remembering today that, you know, if we don't score a brace inside 3 minutes, the game could have been quite different, and that completely set the tone for the game, because after that we were able to just set in and break on them, and they were going to do what they wanted to do anyway, and they were 2-0 down, so they're even more justified in that kind of kamikaze football that they probably would have just went for from the start anyway. But it is mental, and I just wonder if Leeds fans, you know, if there's any reservations about that. I did think there was a moment in the game where it cut to Bielsa and he was like sat on his little stool with his little butt pad on it, and he was drinking like what looked like a cup of tea out of a Manchester United polystyrene cup. And it was just so weird.
It was Bob Brill.
Yeah, I was just like, what is, like, who are you? First of all, get a Leeds branded cup and a canister of hot drink, if that. I'm sure they can, you know, I'm sure there's the budget for that, but just he's just mental, and they have become a mental team, you know.
Well, I mean, full disclosure, if you can't guess, I live in West Yorkshire. Most of my friends are Leeds fans, so I talk a lot of football with Leeds fans, and I mean most of them are like very happy with, like, obviously they worship Bielsa for getting them out the Championship for one, but I think like for them it's like just an adventure in the Premiership, and as long as they're not in the relegation zone, which they're not, then this is fine because it's going to get them wins, and yeah, they might get hammered 6-2 by us, but we are a much better side than them at the end of the day. It is just mental though, like when you watch them and there's like 9 men streaming forward, and you're just thinking they do realise that we're the best counter-attacking team in the league, right? I think one thing that even our biggest critics will agree is that we're very good at counter-attacking. Like it's completely mental, but it made for a very fun game. Like this was the game that I really missed not being at Old Trafford. Like just imagine being there today and like the fun that football was, like the Leeds fans, big game back at Old Trafford. They'd have been up for it. We'd have been up. It would have been a great game at Old Trafford. But,
I mean, Leeds back at Old Trafford would be a great occasion, kind of regardless. Yeah. But to get that game, as well, you know, it's just like it's absolutely spoiled. You know,
it would have made amends for that terrible 1-0 Jermaine Beckford game. Awful. Right, but yeah, second half pretty much continued in the same shape as the first. Martial had 2 very good chances. It was a weird game for Martial because he was like his hold-up play, his touch, his passing. I mean, he came up with like something like 3 or 4 assists or something. It was really good to see. But then in front of goal, 2 glorious chances. The first one, he just hesitated when he should have he did a brilliant first touch, and then instead of just burying it, took a second. And then the second chance, even more time, and he just hit it really close to the keeper. Colm, are you what do you make of Martial? Do you think he's just got a bit of a stage fright in front of goal? Nothing to worry about?
I don't even know. I think there is a kind of a jitteriness there, just not being as decisive as previously. But even when he takes his chances, he looks cool and composed, even though that's his default setting.
He looks too laid back on anything.
Well, exactly, and I think so. It's hard to see if it is. You know, I think you see much more obvious examples of a player snatching at it, like even the one where McTominay slipped him in the second half, and he just had the whole goal to aim at essentially, and it's just the most obvious finish to play it into kind of the corner you're looking at, and he played that finish, but just without conviction, and it just kind of went straight to the keeper when that should be a simple bread and butter kind of thing, you know. And it wasn't that he snatched at it, it wasn't that he didn't have the time, he chose the right finish, he just didn't connect with it very well. I expect it not to be a big issue, to be honest. I think his all-round game today was very good. However, there is a lingering frustration that in a game like that, your number 9 should be scoring a hat-trick, really, without any questions asked. And I know Rashford didn't contribute any goals or assists either, but he obviously played a lot less of the game, and it just, he's out wide and was a big part of a lot of this kind of ball recoveries that led to goals and stuff like that. Didn't have the chances that Martial had. So, overall, it was a very good game. However, a lot of those stats that kind of look very good, and a lot of the passes and stuff that look very good, they are good, but they only tell half the story, because there was all the other chances and all the other opportunities and all the other times we were breaking and he had the ball in good positions that didn't necessarily lead to the same positive outcomes. So I'm not super worried in terms of this season, but I am happy that we have Cavani at the club, and I do think Solskjaer will still look to a number 9 in the future, unless Martial really, really sorts it out. But I still think he'll be quality this year. I still think he will get back into goal scoring form. It's just slightly disappointing because I think a true number 9 in that game comes away with more, you know.
I mean, conservatively, my estimate was this game should have finished about 10-4, I think.
Seemed like
that was my estimate. I think on the XG front, I think it was the highest combined XG of the season in the Premier League. I think it's like...
And I think the goals we scored are harder than the chances we missed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think between Fred, Cavani and the 2 Martial ones, they were like probably our best chances, really.
Gilt edge.
See, Martial reminds me though of a golfer who's got the yips at the moment, where everything else about their game is maybe not excellent, but certainly very good. He was very good in all aspects today, other than scoring. But in golf, when a golfer gets the yips, it's basically described as the minute they arrive on the green, no matter what they try, no matter how they perform otherwise, they just cannot get the putting going at all. They can't get the finishing going, and that is exactly what Martial looks like to me. No matter the chance he gets, no matter who it's against, he's just, I don't know, the coolness isn't there, and the conviction isn't there, because in all honesty, as you guys have already alluded to, those 2 chances he had today, any other season he's burying them, both of them. And I don't know, it's just at the moment when he gets a chance, whereas in the past you might have felt, yeah, that's a goal, you are kind of caught 50-50 thinking, I'm not sure he's going to score this, because he just hasn't looked like doing it so far this season. But the rest of his game is getting back to being very, very good, so hopefully he's able to sort out his goal scoring soon.
Needs to take finishing lessons from Scott McTominay, clearly.
Absolutely.
Also, sorry, we apologise for Golf Hour. This is a little insight to what we get on the WhatsApp group with Jamie and David talking about
the greatest game in the world.
Golf all the time.
And rugby.
Oh.
David showing you which golfing polo shirt he's wearing today.
We're all trying to talk about football and these two are about golf. Anyway, so the 5th goal came thanks to what you think, Colm, wasn't a pass from Scott McTominay to James.
I don't think Imran, and frankly, I'm disappointed that you are even suggesting. It's never. I mean, it's a pass in that he hits the ball with his foot and it goes somewhere. It's not a pass. Anyone, like, I don't want to play the, anyone who's played football card, but you just have to know. Like Gary Neville said it, the co-commentator said it, the boys at halftime said it. Anyone who has struck a ball enough times knows that he is trying to zing one out over the top. I think it's Bruno going in at the back post, and just sometimes when you're playing that kind of Scholesy on the flat crossfield ball, it's very easy just to kind of turn your foot on it, and what you get in the end is this kind of low dragged, really inside kind of direction when you were supposed to be going straight on the diagonal, and that's exactly what that was. You can see from the way he's looking out, he doesn't look at Dan James once, and it just pings down there, and it looks perfect, but it ain't perfect. And
so what you're telling me is you don't think Scott McTominay can do a no-look fake drag pass to James? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. If he was doing that, the way he struck it would be like much neater and much more cropped kind of thing. And you could still achieve the same result, but you can tell from the way he swings and just the way it goes and the way it comes off his foot that was not his intention. Now, don't get me wrong. To arrive in that position was some brilliant play. It was another kind of marauding run forward. He'd beaten a man, he'd taken a few on, and he cuts back inside. But he ain't playing that pass. And the finish isn't that great either.
I'd like to think that Scott McTominay invented a pass today. And
he did enough good things. He did enough good things without having to gift him with things that are clearly not meant.
Well, James, I was really happy for James, actually. Like, I think probably got a lot of stick even being on the team sheet, and probably like he's quick to get on his back. But I liked a lot of his running. He was getting back a lot to help as well, and then like He was really trying to drive into space, which is often like we've seen him play and he just hasn't been trying to drive into that space, which he was doing today, and I was happy to see him do that. There was that time when for some reason he got booked for diving, which was bizarre.
That was ridiculous.
Joke, yeah.
Absolute ridiculous decision. But so I was really happy to see him get his goal. Not the best of finishes, to be fair, but I mean, they all count. It went in. And it was a nice touch, actually, to set himself up. The first touch initially from McTominay's brilliant pass was very nice to set himself up.
And the thing is, there was no thought in his mind. It was one touch and hit, which I think has been kind of the regression in James's game since he came here. At the start, it was very instinctive. It was very, I'm at United, I'm just going to go and do it. I'm going to cut inside, I'm going to hit it. And he got a few good goals just because when you play that way, sometimes fortune favours you, kind of thing, And I think slowly he regressed into feeling like he shouldn't try and lose the ball, or that he won't do something well and therefore shouldn't try, and all that kind of stuff, and was playing in a lot of low block situations that just didn't favour him at all. And much like Manchester United at large today, the game was just perfect for him because there was so much space, and that is when he's so good. I still felt there was more off the ball good than there was on the ball good. Although he did have a lovely little pass, I think, for the third goal, Bruno's goal, to kind of tee that up. But again, more off the ball than on the ball, which at United, I don't think we'll ever accept that too well sometimes. Although, as Ole proved, there are games, there are situations where that is absolutely what you need. And he is still young and young in his United career. So I agree with you. It was absolutely fantastic to see, because I don't think anyone would ever wish anything but the best for Daniel James. He's adorable.
Jamie, what did you make of James today?
Yeah, I thought he was good, and I was really pleased for him to get his goal as well. He is one of these players that just attracts an unbelievable amount of criticism on social media, on the United forum as well. He just gets an unbelievable amount of stick. But I thought he was very good in terms of off the ball work. He tracked back quite well. I thought he got more confident actually as the game went on. And looked to take on a man a bit more. I mean, as I said, the booking was ridiculous. I don't think it was a penalty by any means, but it certainly wasn't a dive. Absolutely no chance. And I was really pleased for him to get his goal. His first touch to take the ball inside is excellent, and it's just one of those. Bobby Charlton used to talk about it when he said that whenever he scored, it was literally just head over the ball and just make sure you hit the target. Even sometimes just hit the ball as hard as you can at the goal, and you never know, it might go in. And that's more or less what it was. The keeper probably just has to do better, but he just makes sure he puts his foot through it and gets it on target. And Roy Keane said it after the game. You could see, even in his reaction to scoring, he was absolutely delighted to score. And that's the monkey off his back a little bit as well, because he hasn't scored in the league for United.
Well, he did score against Leipzig, but he did. Oh, was it? Yeah,
but not.
He didn't score against,
but not
Leipzig.
In the league. Since August last year, which is crazy to think that.
Yeah, a long time.
I was just glad for him to get another goal in the league, and I thought it was a good performance from him.
Yeah. So do you remember, under Fergie, I think people like Nicky Butt or Phil Neville used to say how Fergie, they'd be dropped for a lot of games because then Fergie would say to them, "I've got a game for you in a few weeks against Arsenal." Yeah. So I imagine what happened at the beginning of the season was Dan James always how much are you going to use me? I've got a game for you. Oh, is it next week against Chelsea? No. Oh, is it the one against? No. Just December. I've got a game
week
for you
15.
in December.
Game week 15.
Week 15. Save yourself. Week 15, you're in, and you'll be. And he was like, "Yes, I'm going to do it."
He also seems to like playing players in kind of fated circumstances. He gives Henderson the return to Sheffield United, and then he plays Dan James at the club many people think he'll be playing for come January. So it's just a really interesting little bit of management from Ole.
Well, I think he'll probably start against Everton now in midweek, and we'll see how he does there. So the sixth goal came from a penalty. Obviously, he can't finish a game without a penalty. This one not controversial enough for me, to be honest with you. This was too clear cut penalty for me. It's not really interesting. But what I am annoyed about is we need to stop this not giving penalties to people on hat-trick shit. It is bollocks.
I was fuming.
People are on hat-trick giving a penalty.
Give it to McTominay.
Obviously, you were fuming. You're Scott McTominay's long-lost brother.
No, but even for Scotland, he's took 2 penalties in 2 penalty shootouts for Scotland and scored them both. So just let him take the penalty.
He's got the stones. He's absolutely got the stones for penalties. There was a moment as well, not really related to the penalty, but there was a moment we were kind of breaking through, and he made this late run for a Martial cross at the back post. And I mean, he was thundering through from midfield. And see those kind of positive runs that you don't necessarily always get from him, but it was class. And that was the perfect hat-trick setup, and I was like, head of that in. If Scott McTominay scores a perfect hat-trick here, I'm going to die of happiness. But beyond that, I wasn't really surprised, and Bruno's in my fantasy football team, so I was absolutely delighted that we won another snotty penalty, and Bruno hop skip, and I jumped it into the bottom corner, so that was really cool. But I'm not really, I'm sure McTominay would love to score a hat-trick, but for a midfielder, it was such an all-round performance that I don't know that the hat-trick would have added anything more, it was perfect from start to finish. All his actions, his confidence and his skills, and he's got an assist as well. I just don't know that the hat-trick's required for as some kind of cherry on top of an already delicious cake.
I genuinely would say that's probably the best individual performance for many of our players this season. I thought it was that good today. I thought it was just an all-round
I agree.
fantastic
because also,
performance.
I don't think there was a mistake. I genuinely don't think there was a mistake. And it was all areas of the pitch as well. He was combative. He did win his duels. And 50-50s are something that annoy me a lot with United in second balls. And he was picking them all up today. Driving into space, we know he's great. But after the 2 goals, there was just this aura and this confidence about him, similarly to how we were playing 3-1 up at Sheffield United there last week, which I wish we could just instill into our players, regardless of the match situation, But he's 25 now, is he 24? 24, coming 25. And he spoke so well after the match as well. And he's really he's grown into his face as well. He's much more handsome man than he was. I'm such a big fan.
Well, Roy Keane does like his haircut, as we found out after the game.
I thought he said he did like his haircut.
Yeah, no, he did. That's what I said. Roy Keane did like his haircut.
Yeah,
if Roy Keane's complimenting on your haircut, you've done something right as well.
Yeah, definitely. But I do think he'll be a stalwart in this United team. I wouldn't say he'll always be a starter, although I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on, strength to strength. I know people will still say there's big limitations there in terms of his quality. I think he has so many things that just make up for that. But even I don't necessarily think you play him every day of the week. If you're a title winning team, but he will be in this Manchester United team for a long, long time, and he will always be a big player for us because that's just the character of him. Last thing on that was just that was Fergie's, I think, first game back at Old Trafford for a while. You saw him kind of struggling to get that mask up over his nose, but he's a big, big fan of Scott McTominay. Obviously, there's that Scottish connection. He's a big reason why he's kind of gone down that route, and also a big reason why he's in the squad. If you sort of listen to the rumours around Mourinho introducing him into the team, and I'm sure he will have been absolutely delighted with that first 3 minutes and the rest.
I think he himself said when the game is frantic and high energy, that's where he thrives, and you can really tell that today. In games like this, he's made for them, really. He's just all in. And genuinely, you were right. After he scored those 2 goals, when Rashford's on it and he's got the ball at his feet and he's just doing his thing.
Do anything here? Yeah.
Yeah, McTominay reminded me of Rashford, with some of his dribbling and stuff. He literally, I thought he could power through anyone at this point. Genuinely.
The one he slips into Martial, where he's running straight through and then he kind of fakes as if he's going out right and just kind of does that sort of swish away from the player, is just the grace of it. He was absolutely on it today. You could tell he was just having himself an absolute day. Yeah,
it was fantastic. Leeds did get the best goal of the game, annoyingly, but whatever. Top corner, Dallas, whatever. Who cares? They probably should have had another one.
Thought De Gea could have done better.
Oh, come on! Top corner. De Gea did make a great save from, I want to say,
I can't
what's he called?
His name either. I know who you mean.
Rodrigo, was it?
Yeah, was it all the Fabinho or something? I don't know.
Rafinha.
Rafinha, that's it.
Yeah.
Rafinha made a really good save from Rafinha, and then Rodrigo, I think, or Rafinha, one of them missed an absolute. Again, Leeds probably, but between Bamford and that other lad, probably missed their 2 biggest chances of the game. Absolutely fantastic chances for them. They're just both of them miles wide. So that was kind of the bizarre game it was, but a hell of a lot of fun. Probably the best game we've been involved in this season. Just absolutely fantastic stuff. Any other comments from anyone on any players?
Yeah, I thought Wan-Bissaka was poor.
I agree, but I didn't want to get too negative.
I don't want to.
Yeah, it seems I do. Yeah, I agree as well, but it does seem disingenuous on a day like today to kind of feel the need.
I mean, I thought in general, our defence was quite leaky, but again, do we really want to focus on the fact that we could have conceded 4 or 5 goals today? I don't know.
Well, the highest combined XG of any Premier League game so far this season, I think, at 9. And when I saw it, I thought it should have been more.
Well, some of the stats are mad though, because it's 20. It was 26 attempts for us versus 17 for Leeds. On target, 14 for us, 3 for Leeds. Their keeper I'm not sure this is accurate because it says 8 saves. I thought at one point in the second half, in the space of about 90 seconds, he made about 6 saves. Where he saved the Maguire header, he saved the Fred chance, he saved, I think, another one before that, and then Cavani's one. Yeah, I thought their keeper played quite well. Actually, I know it's not great to say that because there was some poor goals and he probably should have done better, but at the same time, he made some cracking saves to keep it at 6. So, yeah, I don't want to speak too much about negatives, but it was just that one Wan-Bissaka chance where Rafinha has the chance at the back post and it is a cracking save from De Gea. It's just too many times now you just see Wan-Bissaka just getting caught with the ball in the air. It just annoys me a little bit.
I agree, but we won't go too into that today. Let's wait till we lose again. So this puts us into third on goal difference above Everton. So pretty good going at Christmas. We're just, I want to say, 4 points off the top.
5.
With a game in hand.
5, yeah. So
5 points off the top with a game in hand. And finally, a very strong home win. We've only won once before at home against West Brom, and that was a pretty cagey 1-0. So, with this 6-2 in the bag, have we turned a corner, Colm? Are we in a title race?
At the moment, we are. I would say the season is young, and I would not. I see a lot of, and it's just indicative of kind of the polarism that surrounds the world right now, but also Manchester United specifically. There have been people after the Champions League exit, probably some of us amongst them, who were in a very dark place regards our season and our future as a club. And the other side of that coin is that we now have people maybe getting a little bit carried away as well. There's really no reason why we can't be in a title race, Imran. I mean, like we have said for the longest time, and certainly I've always been of the opinion that our squad is good enough, if it's kind of firing and managed well. I think that's what we're seeing at the moment. I mean, the stats do not lie. Our league form over the last sort of year would put us there. Never mind just this season. So it's absolutely on merit. It does seem like there is a bit more consistency coming that can't really be excused away, and I don't think the Champions League is its own thing, I think, and shouldn't really be brought too much into this conversation. It is disappointing, it is a small failure, but it's its own unique thing with 2 other very good teams in that group. So I would kind of set it to the side now, and that allows us to focus on the league season, which will hopefully pay dividends for us. It is very tight. It does seem like the kind of season where everyone's going to be able to beat everyone, and Liverpool are kind of going to walk it in the end, and I do think that's how it's going to go. I'm not going to say we're absolutely there and we're going to be up there and challenging, because I just haven't seen enough from this squad yet to believe that we will keep on in this vein. But I hope so, and we are playing well broadly. So it's more just that you can still see issues that need ironed out. I know every team has issues, but some of ours are quite galling. So it's it just has to kind of all come together. But there's no reason why we can't. And hopefully, I mean, all the comments by the players, like Rashford said midweek, McTominay said today, and Ole said today, the exact same thing. Essentially, that we don't look at the Premier League table, that it's too early in the season, which is like a nice little message, but it's also complete bollocks.
Yeah, it's
bollocks. They're very odd. And anyone who says that, they're constantly goaded into this question over the last week and a half of, are you in a title race? And Rashford was asked it, and you could just see the fear in his face of no. And I was like, it wouldn't be the worst. No one wants to kind of be hoisted by their own petard and make that bold claim before going on to lose the next 4 games. But I would like some, confirmation from the team that we are. That is the expectation at Manchester United. We're not a top 4 club. I mean, we aren't a top 4 club at the moment, but we shouldn't be. That shouldn't be our aspiration either. You should be building a squad that wins the title. That's what everyone wants. So it's not no one's saying it should happen or it has to happen. But you're in the position now, you may as well go for it. And there's no harm in saying that. It's not bad juju or whatever else they're worried about.
Well, I can kind of see why. We are playing second in the league in the next league game, and then we've got Liverpool coming up in a few weeks, so maybe you don't attempt too much before those games. But I think it's with this run coming up, we've really got a chance to solidify where we are in the league, and maybe I think it's fair to say that Liverpool are the best team in the league, and as annoying as that is to say, I don't think anyone's going to debate me on that, but I think it's for us to stay claim that we are the second best, and I think we can show that we are. Jamie, where do you see us, and do you expect more consistency coming from us now?
I would like to think so. I think we can be, as Roy Keane put it, the best of the rest if we can get the consistency going, because I just think there has been a few signs in the last couple of games that we are starting to get it together a wee bit, but it's the defence just really worries me. And if there was going to be anything that would stop us being in a title race, it's the defending at the moment. It just has to be better. I mean, okay, it doesn't matter today, but in the wider context of the season, it has to be much better than it has been. We give up so many goals in terms of ones that are just either crazy and just can't be avoided, or ones that are just totally daft where we make so many errors and we just seem to always get punished for it. So if the defence can improve and we just find some consistency there, and by equal measure we can transfer some of the form that we have away from home to the home games, there's absolutely no reason to think we can't be involved in a title race. But more than that, I just think if we can just find some consistency moving forward, and I think there is some signs over the last few games that we are getting there, I think we absolutely can be the best of the rest, if you like. I think we can be up there. Yeah. But as you said, Liverpool are, as much as it kills you to say it, Liverpool are the best team in the league. We aren't going to catch them, I wouldn't have thought. But I would just like to see us just get a consistent run together for the next few weeks and just see where it takes us, because as you say, we've got some big games coming up.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Leicester's a huge game.
Massive. Yeah.
Leicester's a huge game. We'll get to that. Before that, we've got Everton in the League Cup quarter-final, and that's at Goodison. I think we're all expecting a lot of changes, and I don't think has anyone got a problem with that? If, say, I don't know, Pogba, Matic, Van der Beek, etc. come in, Cavani, Mata. It's actually not a bad side, really. Would anyone, I mean, this is, for me, is one of those games where if we win, great. If we don't, what are you going to do? Like, I'm not really...
No, I would never be too upset about going out of the Carabao Cup at any stage, really, to be honest. It's just, as much as I think everyone wants Ole to win a trophy this year, if it's like the Carabao Cup and a sixth finish, I don't think, that'll be enough. So it's just a bit of a non-event. Everton are a good team, and they'll probably be more focused on it as an occasion than we will be. And sometimes... It's horrible to say, but sometimes a loss in a cup is kind of good to refocus you if there is a big game coming after that. It's one of those ones I would certainly look to really, really, really rest players and rotate and just see what happens. I wouldn't place too much emphasis on it at all.
Yeah, and plus it has the benefit of, if we lose this game, we can actually play Burnley finally. I think that's the idea. If we'd go out, I think when the semi-finals happen, we can actually play Burnley. So really good to get that game out of the way eventually. But then, so that's that game. The big game really is Leicester on Boxing Day. Huge game. Leicester just beating Spurs 2-0 away. Jamie Vardy scoring a penalty. Spurs giving up a quite comical own goal. Proper Jose football stuff. I guess, I mean, obviously Vardy will score first and then we might win. But Jamie, how do you fancy our chances next weekend?
Probably more favourable than I would have thought, to be honest, because Leicester are kind of a little bit like United. They seem to be very, very good on the road and give a lot of teams problems, but their home form really isn't that great. I mean...
No, they've lost some bizarre games at home.
I just think they're a bit like ourselves. And Jamie Vardy said as much after the game, in the sense that he said he couldn't really put his finger on why they were so good away from home but struggling so much at home, and they were wanting to find that consistency on their own patch, much like McTominay said about ourselves. So hopefully we can just put our regular performance in away from home, but for the most part of the game, rather than just for one half or for 60 minutes or so. And I think we can actually come away with a good result there, even if it is just a hard-fought 2-1 win. I do actually fancy us to go and get a result at Leicester. I might be totally wrong, but I'm a bit more confident about that than, say, the Everton game on Wednesday, where I agree with you guys. I wouldn't be too disappointed to go out with that, and I wouldn't be too disappointed to see a lot of reserves playing. But the Leicester game, I'm actually thinking we could get a good result there.
Yeah, Colm, how do you think Leicester's going to go? And what minute will Vardy score in?
I don't know that Vardy will score. I'm quite confident as well. It wasn't a good game today with Spurs. It was a great result for, I think, everyone involved. Because I don't know that Leicester will be there at the end of the year, and I think it was lovely to see the pin go in the Spurs balloon a little bit. Because it just seemed like people, a couple of weeks before them it was Chelsea, then it was them. Now it's us in second. Hopefully we won't suffer the same fate, but it just shows just what the league's like this year. And I think the signs were there with Spurs that they wouldn't maintain that kind of goal scoring efficiency with just two good players. So I was pleased with that result today. Having said that, I watched most of it and it wasn't actually a good game. Neither team were particularly creative, and as you've alluded to, the goals were kind of comical more than anything else. I mean, Aurier for the penalty for Leicester is just daft. It's more daft than like Leeds United, basically.
That's one of the most
he's the most un-Mourinho player I can think of.
And yet he seemed to mould him. Like, even in that documentary, there's that bit where he basically told him that he could never trust him, as if like a jilted lover. But like, he seems to have worked with him, but it'll always come back to the surface. I mean, it's always in there, absolutely crazy. But I wasn't hugely impressed by Leicester. They worked super hard, but there wasn't a whole pile of quality. That said, Maddison is now back and seems to have refound his fitness and his form with some stunning goals lately. But I expect us to win. I think we'll see that it's a big game. I mean, it's them in second, isn't it? It's Liverpool, them, and then us, at the moment. So, it's a big game right up the top of the league. So, I mean, that's where you want to be. And Boxing Day is the best football day of the year.
Yes, it is.
I hope everyone is able to enjoy it this year. And we're obviously coming off super bad news in the UK in general, and it's so depressing. I center a lot of my my Christmases Boxing Day, I'm not gonna lie, and I hope I will still be able to enjoy it with my family and watch a really good United performance. And I hope all our listeners will too, because it's definitely required. And I hope the boys do it for us this year, because we don't need any more reasons to be sad on Boxing Day, I don't think.
So, quick prediction, Jamie?
I'll go 2-1 United.
Colm?
2-0.
Oh, we're definitely going to concede first, so I'm going to go with 2-1 United as well. Maybe 3-1. Or maybe we get one at the end. Right, so we just have enough time for yet another stupid game from me. Yes, it's time for Imran's stupid game.
A wonderful game of football in which Manchester United have won convincingly.
But it was a breathtaking match, absolutely brilliant.
Shocking. I am disgusted with it.
Right. Well, today we've got two fantastic players. We've got regular Jamie. Say hello, Jamie.
Hello.
Hi. And yes, what's your favourite type of cheese?
Stilton.
There you go. That's nice to know, Jamie. Right. And against him is making his debut on the stupid game, Colm. Say hello, Colm.
Hi, Imran. Glad to be here. Very nervous.
Yes. Well, Colm, what's your favourite fruit?
Kiwis.
Kiwis is a solid choice. Right. Today we will be playing Richard Oz Mandy Cole. Yes, Richard Oz Mandy Cole. One of my favourite shows on TV is Richard Osman's House of Games, and in it he does a round called Answer Smash at the end, which he combines two things and he smashes them together. So, for example, I'm going to give you a clue, and you're going to have to smash two footballers together. One's a United player and one isn't. So, for example, if I gave you the clue that a French left-back links up with Liverpool, City and England winner with over 225 goals in his career, the answer would be? Anyone?
Not a clue.
French left-back? Patrice Evraheem Sterling. You see? They flow into each other. Patrice Evraheem Sterling.
Raheem Sterling, gotcha.
You got it. So it follows in, so the name always has to follow through. So spelling-wise. So you'll get it, right? Colm, head to... Sorry?
Tails.
Tails. And the answer is tails. Well done, Colm. Do you want to go heads off first? Heads off first? Do you want to go first or second?
I'll go second.
Right, okay. So, Jamie, the first one is...
pressure.
It's an English midfielder with 464 appearances for Man United puts in a great through ball for a man who scored over 100 goals for Southampton and scored 3 goals for England.
Paul Scholes Ferdinand.
That's incorrect, I'm afraid. It's incorrect because Les Ferdinand now plays for Southampton.
That was a
Colm,
guess.
do you have it?
No clue.
It's Michael Carricky Lambert. Michael Carricky Lambert, of course.
Carricky Lambert. Yeah, very good.
Right, Colm, you're up. Irish midfielder. So I should probably say the first one is always a United player. The first one is always a United player. Irish midfielder links up with the Premier League's highest scoring Asian footballer.
Roy. Roy Keane, Nobby Solano?
No, Asian. Nobby Solano is from South America. Jamie, you're up.
Roy Kee Sung Young.
No, it's incorrect. It's Darren Gibson Heung-min. Darren Gibson Heung-min.
Yeah, just couldn't get away from Keane.
You couldn't get away from Keane. We do have more Irish players. Darren Gibson, the man with a thunderbolt of a right foot. Right, Jamie, you're up. Portuguese midfielder puts in a corner for ex-Forest and Wednesday legend with over 800 club appearances and 59 England caps.
Don't know. Can't think.
Colm, you're up.
Not a clue, Imran.
It's Bruno Fernandes Walker. Bruno Fernandes Walker, of course. Oh, this is going swimmingly well so far.
We're going to start doing half points just for the United player.
Yeah, if you can get the United player, I will give you half a point. Right. Who were up? Colm, you're up. Right. England defender calmly plays it forward to Welsh international and Leicester City Premier League winner.
Welsh player. Premier League winner. No, I haven't a clue. Do you know who the England defender, is that basically it? Luke Shaw?
No, it's not. Jamie, do you know?
Gary Neville, and then I can't think of the Welsh part.
Well, I mean Gary Neville Southall would be good, but it's not. It is Rio Ferdinandi King. Rio Ferdinandi King.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is going.
Did you make
great.
these up, Imran, or I feel like no one would get these?
I sat down and I thought about these, and I was having a great time. This one is fantastic. Right, here we go. You'll definitely get the United player, Jamie. Irish fullback combines with a fellow fullback who played for Ajax, Milan, Barca, and finished his career by playing 9 times for Chelsea in 4 years.
I think the Irish player is Dennis Irwin. Is that right?
That is correct.
I can't think of the fullback.
Colm, do you know?
Give us the clubs he played for again.
He played for Ajax, Milan, Barca, but famously, this is quite famous that he only played for Chelsea 9 times in 4 years.
Oh, I know it now as well.
Go ahead, Jamie, because I haven't got a clue.
I think it's Dennis Irwinston Bogard.
Yes!
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Fantastic. Yeah. And Jamie gets 0 points because he passed already.
I get half a point, surely.
Oh, you get half a point for Dennis Irwin, but I mean, you could have got the full point, but you didn't.
Yeah,
I'm afraid.
I couldn't believe it when I gave it away. I then remembered it. The guy.
Right. Colm. Argentinian defender keeps a clean sheet alongside 2-time Premier League winning defender in 2012 and 2014. And I'll be a bit kind, he won it with Man City.
Is it Marcus Rowe? No, it doesn't work.
It does.
Yeah, Marcus Rojo. I was thinking Julian Lescott.
Yes. So what is
Correct,
it?
But Marcus Rowe, Julian Lescott. Those two things don't flow.
Well, Julian Lescott is spelled J-O-L and Marcus Rowe is spelled R-O.
It's a pronunciation thing with the soft J was throwing me off, but I'll take it.
You'll take it for a point. Amazing. Woo! Points on the board.
Man.
So it's 1 to 1.5, and with 3 left only. 3 left, 4 left. I apologise. I can't keep math. This is why I'm not hosting the chase. Jamie, you're up. Right. This one you'll get. Actually, you probably won't. You ready?
Yep, go for it.
Armenian attacker crosses for ex-United academy player who made nearly 300 Premier League appearances.
Oh, I know it.
Henrik Mkhitaryan is the United player. Can you repeat the second part, please?
He crosses it for an ex-United academy player who has made nearly 300 Premier League appearances, not for United.
Pass, Jamie. I've got it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, go for it, Colm. I can't think who it is.
Is it Henrik Mkhitaryan, Ryan Shawcross?
Yes! Well done. Henrik Mkhitaryan Shawcross. Very good.
A joke.
Right, you've got one now. Here's a good one. Uruguayan striker combines with ex-Everton player who has the most assists in MLS history.
Easy. Diego Forlan Donovan.
Oh, he's got Colm. I tell you what, he's come in.
Yeah.
He's laid the gauntlet down.
I now understand the premise of the game.
All right, and this is actually a hard one for Jamie.
Oh man.
Crap French winger links up with Tottenham's record signing.
I've got it.
Oh, Colm's just showing off now.
No, can't think.
Nope, Colm?
It's Gabriel Obertan Guy Ndombele.
Yes, well done. Fantastic. Oh, this is a procession now for Colm. Way ahead. Fantastic form. And now he's got a chance to really add a flourish with the last question. And this is a good one. In fact, I'm not going to tell you the nationality, so you're just going to have striker. Striker scores thanks to a cross from a Premier League, FA Cup, Europa League and AFCON winning fullback. I'll narrow it down, European striker.
Ugh. Nah, I haven't got a clue who either player is.
Okay, Jamie, I'll give you a bit of a clue. Swedish striker. Scores thanks to a cross from a Premier League, FA Cup, Europa League and AFCON winning fullback. Who was a winger fullback.
Striker, is it...
I've got it.
Is the striker Henrik Larsson?
It isn't, I'm afraid. Colm, do you want to tell him who it is?
Zlatan Ibrahimovic Victor Moses.
It is Zlatan Ibrahimovic Victor Moses. Fantastic. Colm swept it away there. We found something that Colm's good at.
Well played, Colm.
I think we have found that Colm is very good at smashing footballers' names together. And thank you. That is yet another edition of Imran's stupid, possibly the stupidest game yet. But I hope you enjoyed it.
Dreadful. Dumb and Dumber, I'd call them. I thought they were really poor. I thought they were a joke. Really abysmal.
Yeah, well, next time I'm on, I'll be back with another stupid game. Who knows when that'll be. But yeah, so as Colm alluded to, have a good Christmas, everyone. Obviously, it's been bad news in the UK, but wherever you are, stay safe. Thanks for listening over the year. We appreciate all your following and everything. Just taking time to listen to us, it makes it all worthwhile for us. So yeah, have a great time with your family. Stay safe. Have a great festive period. And the Leicester game's on Boxing Day. We'll try to get a recording out then, but there's a couple of games coming up, so we'll see what we're going to do. But yeah, any Christmas joy you guys want to spread?
Guys, be safe. Have a very, very, very happy Christmas.
Be safe. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, troops.
Cheers.